Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to ice dye a thermal hoodie. So I've turned the hoodie inside out, and then I decide where I want the center of my spiral to be, and this one's going to be offset, so I'm starting down at the bottom right corner. So I'm using the microwave splatter guard that I got from Amazon, and there's a link for it down below in the description box, along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so make sure you check that out. And then I'm using a hemostat, and I have it clicked on the first click. It doesn't need to be overly tight. And then I get it started by maybe making 2 or 3 twists, and then I use my opposite hand to create the spiral. And I go as far as I can using the microwave splatter guard. And when I can't go any further, I gently unwiggle the hemostat and I do the rest by hand. And then I'm going to secure it by using my stretched out favorite rubber bands. As I'm watching this back, and it's on fast forward, right? Just so we can save on time. It looks so erratic, like my hands are just jerking all over the place. Keep in mind, you guys, I have this sped way up for time, otherwise we'd be here for an hour. And you guys have watched me do enough spirals to where I think that, you don't have to watch me do it in regular slow motion. Well, we're getting into the weather now where long sleeves aren't going to be that fun and cool to watch, but I haven't made tie-dye in well over a month now, and so I'm just going through the memory and just trying to upload everything that I have to make room and, get back into tie-dyeing. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, like real life does come before tie-dye, so unfortunately I haven't been able to get much done, but things have calmed down now and everybody's doing pretty good, so I'm ready to get back into it. Once you have your project spiraled up and it's secure, it's time to do some type of an ice barrier, and for this one I'm using the silicone cake molds, but you could use cardboard, foil, whatever. I like to add the silicone cake molds in the direction of the spiral, and then this one was just a little bit too big, so I just used a simple paper clip to hold it down. And next I mark out my pattern using a washable marker. Now this is not a necessary step, but it's something that I like to do because it helps me sort of stay on task. I don't necessarily follow my markings to a T, but without it, I would be all over the place. Now it's time for the fun part. We get to add the dye. And for this one, I'm using colors that I don't use very often, and I'm really pleasantly surprised with the way this one turns out. So originally I was going to do 3 colors and have white space, and when the eggplant fell onto this piece I had to shift gears, and that's the fun thing about tie-dye, you guys. It's not going to be perfect and you can just change it up as you go. So I got that little clump off of there, and then I realized, nope, I'm not going to do that again where I have a little bit of dye there and it ruins the whole thing. So, but you'll see as we get going on further. I think this might be my first time using brush steel as an ice dye, and I'm excited about it because I've seen it a lot on Facebook. People do like single color brush steel, and it splits down into a lot of really pretty colors. It's just not all just gray. So that's the one thing I love about ice dyeing and why I do it so much is, well, first of all, it's just so much easier than mixing liquid dye. But then secondly, all those secondary colors, you get it's just such a variety, and you never really know what you're going to get, so it's super exciting. Stormageddon is a brand new color to me, and I'm really excited about it because I think as a single dye, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. This is one of those special order dyes from Dharma Trading Company where you have to order 5 pounds at a time, but I'm getting it through Kathy Sprague on Facebook, and her page is Tie-Dye Supplies Marketplace. And if you can't figure that out, when in doubt, you can go to my Facebook group, Belladonna Dyes Community Group. The link for it is down below in the description box. It's right underneath the Etsy link. There's information in there about how to order these special color dyes. So I'm excited. I have a couple boxes of them and I haven't tried them out yet. I have so much dyeing to do, you guys. It's going to be unreal, but definitely stay tuned because there's going to be a lot of new colors that I haven't used and I have no idea what to expect, but I'm excited to start getting back into it. Since I had to shift gears and decided that I wasn't going to leave white space, I decided that I would do just a narrow strip across from each color. So as you can see here, I'm doing the brushed steel, and then the last one I did the Stormageddon across, and now I'm going to do a thin layer of the eggplant. And at this point, I'm really just totally playing it by ear and just having fun with it. This next color, the indigo blue, is a happy accident. I had no intention of adding indigo blue to this hoodie. So what happened is I pulled out my Wedgwood blue and, just started applying color. And you can see right here where I start to say, hey, wait a minute. Why is this so dark for Wedgwood blue? And you can see I'm thinking. And sure enough, what happened is the last time I used indigo and Wedgwood blue, I switched the lids. And you guys have heard me say this before. Make sure and double check your dye jar. Don't just always trust your lid. It worked out in this instance and it actually worked out really well because this turns out really beautiful. But, this could have been disastrous. Especially like if I was making this as a gift for somebody and this was my last one, I could have ruined it. So just, dot your I's and cross your T's and slow down and, make sure that you're, putting the right lid on the right jar of dye. Alright, we're almost done adding the dye, and it has been my experience previously that Wedgwood blue is one of those more pastel type colors. It's not really pastel, but you need to add a pretty decent layer of it, otherwise it will kind of disappear. And this being a thermal hoodie, it's not like a t-shirt, so it's a little bit thicker and it has that like little square check type pattern. I don't know, the thermal part of it, So you want to make sure that you're adding enough dye. I don't like to have to flip my projects over if I don't have to. So I go a little heavy-handed on the top side. So all I have to do is add a second layer of ice. And then you want to give your project a quick little sprinkle of soda ash for good measure. And I like to add enough ice to where it just fills up the cake molds. I came back and checked the project after the first layer of ice had melted. It had good saturation on the back, but there was still quite a bit of undissolved dye, so I decided to add a second layer of ice, and then I let it batch for 48 hours after the ice melted. So it's been 48 hours and now it's time for the rinse out. And I don't know if you could see it, there was still a little bit of undissolved dye, but that's okay. So now you want to start by using cold water, and that's going to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fibers, and then increase your water up to hot and rinse until the water runs basically clear. From here, I take it to the washing machine and I do however many hot water cycles it takes using Kirillon until that hot water part of the cycle runs clear. And I'll tell you, it's usually just 2 cycles. Once I know that that water is pretty much clear, I'm ready for my third and final hot water cycle using Millsoft. And Millsoft is a professional textile fabric softener that I get from Dharma Trading Company. And then I put it in the dryer and I'll iron it, and we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our thermal hoodie after it's been washed and dried, and I think it turned out fantastic. I was not expecting this. This is not what I originally had planned, and I think it turned out way better than I had hoped that it would. So I drug Bella outside and I took pictures of her outdoors on a rainy, gloomy Oregon day, and I think it looks really pretty, and I think it's more true to what it actually looks like. These flat pictures were taken on the kitchen floor underneath fluorescent light, and it's beautiful, but it's really dark. So the true reality of it is somewhere in between, in the middle, probably closer to what Bella looks like wearing it. But look at the richness of those colors. And then that sandy color that's running through the center of it for the contrast, I'm pretty sure that's the brushed steel, and I wasn't expecting that. And I think it's really pretty. It's either that or the Stormageddon, but I think the Stormageddon is the more like the darker black type color. I won't know until I do a single icedye with them, and then I'll know for sure. But I wish this thing was in my size because I absolutely love it. It is so pretty to me. All those color splits. This is why I do ice dyeing, you guys, because it's just so much fun. You get all these extra colors that you weren't planning on, and it's absolutely beautiful. So, what do you guys think? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.